27 straight, including 17 of their last 20. Best record in the West over that period of time. So who should the West fear more? The new-look Lakers, the new-look Warriors. Let's talk hoops.
Well, I could say the Lakers because they have a player who's still trying to prove that he's the greatest of all time. I'm not going to be snarky like that. I'm not going to do that. There is no one thing, but it is the Lakers, and it's not because of one specific thing. It's a bunch of different things that they just have an edge in. They're a little bit bigger. They're a little bit more experienced playoff-wise. They shoot the ball a little bit better. We can debate back and forth in terms of what their go-to guy can do, but I feel overall like I know exactly what the Lakers are capable of in the postseason. And meanwhile, I've got the Golden State Warriors who are relying on a Brandon Podziemski playing a role. Never been to the playoffs before. Quentin Post is a rookie, second-round pick. Buddy Hield got a cup of coffee in the playoffs for the first time last year with Philadelphia. Moses Moody is starting for the first time on a team that plans to go to the playoffs. So I just look at Dorian Finney-Smith. He's been there. Luka, been there. LeBron's been there. You know, you can have some questions about Jackson Hayes and what he's able to do on that big stage, but I just think there's more players with the Lakers who you look at them and go, man, I've seen them play. Austin Reeves is one of those rare players who plays better in the postseason than he does the regular season. So that for all those reasons, I put the Lakers ahead.
One quick follow-up before I go to break. What about the attribute you can't quantify? I believe the most important attribute in sports is it. A Hall of Fame head coach looked at me one day and he said, Acho, I can't define it, but you know it when you see it.
Yep.
The Warriors have a lot of it on their squad. Steph Curry, he has it. Jimmy Butler may have more it than any player in the history of the sport. When it comes down to the playoffs, it comes down to who has it. If I were to define it, who can make the pivotal play in the pivotal moment when the pivotal moment is required of you?
Sure.
Pivotal play is. Does the Warriors' it factor put them over the edge in your mind?
I'm not going to say that LeBron and Luka don't have the it factor in the postseason. So I honestly feel like it kind of balances out. The top two guys balance out, and then it's a matter of the supporting cast. And when I look at the supporting cast, that's where I give the Lakers the edge.
Incredibly well said. Hey, when we return, you won't believe what Big Ben said about starting with Colin. What team am I starting with, Big Dog? Starting with the Tennessee Titans. Aaron Rodgers. Should he play for the Titans or should he retire?
You know what, man? He really good at golf, and I've been working on my game. If it's the Tennessee Titans, let's go golf, dog. Retire. No Tennessee Titans.
Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, they are desperately looking high and low for a quarterback. They might keep Justin Fields. They might keep Russell Wilson. But if it's Aaron Rodgers, play for the Steelers or retire?
Yeah, man, you know what? I already got the jersey in my cart. If you go to the Steelers, boom, I'm ordering the Aaron Rodgers. He should play, right? You're going to go with T.J. Watt, a really good defense. You go over there, be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got a chance to get in the playoffs, and who knows what happens.
Okay, Cleveland Browns, they've restructured the Deshaun Watson deal. Deshaun Watson to clear more money. In the event, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Should he play for the Browns or retire?
You know what? I coach a little league football team. I need a quarterback coach. The Cleveland Browns, I'll pay you a couple of dollars to come coach my little quarterbacks. Retire, man. Cleveland's not going anywhere.
Okay, here's an interesting one. This team has an elite wide receiver.
Yeah.
This team has a coach of the year. This team is the New York Giants.
Oh, my.
Should he play for the Giants?
Oh, my goodness, man. Retire. Do not go to the New York Giants. They are rebuilding. They need a lot of pieces. You're not going to have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl in the New York Giants facility.
Okay.
Retire, sir.
Okay. I got one for you. This team has an elite pass rusher. This team, I would suggest the brains behind the operation is one of the greatest brains in the history of the sport. This team, you can't say the name. You have to yell the name. Raiders!
Don't do me like that on my Raiders. Listen, I be jealous of my wife sometimes because she always at brunch. You know what I mean? Because she ain't got no job. Hey, let's go to brunch together, my dog. Here, there's a lot of good restaurants out here, and I love the Raiders. You know that. Retired. Oh, retire. Right? They have a lot of holes in their offense, too. I want them to get a young quarterback. Retire, my dog.
Okay, I'm going to cut to it with this one. Minnesota Vikings.
Come on, man. Run to Minnesota. Right? You get in the dome. Hey, you played in that division before. You dominated that division. You are going to have a really, really, really good chance to compete for a championship with a really good coach. You do not retire. You go play for the Minnesota.
I need that, Rocky. I got to head to the locker room, big dog. I had to head to the locker room. Q!
He almost dropped it. We haven't seen push-ups on the field in a minute.
Q. Shedeur Sanders was one of the most polarizing names in all of sports right now, not just because of his last name, but also because of his game. He's supposed to be a top quarterback taken. The Cleveland Browns, they draft number 2. Shedeur Sanders is supposed to go have an in-person visit with the Browns. So quarterback, I saw you post on your social media channels yesterday a 16-minute breakdown of Shedeur Sanders. You have studied his game intently, not the name. You studied the game.
Yeah.
Should the Browns consider drafting Shedeur too?
Yeah, look, I have studied his game. I've watched almost every game that he's played. And should the Browns consider it? Sure. Yeah, you should consider everything it too.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why they should draft him.
You should consider everything at number 2. If I was the Browns, though, I'd be hard-pressed to pass up on either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. I think those 2 players are cornerstone players for your franchise for the next 10 years. Let's say the Tennessee Titans stick and pick at number 1 or even trade out to the Giants. 2's a really good position. I think, personally, Shedeur at number 2 is really high. Okay, and here's why I say that is because you better be damn sure if you're the Cleveland Browns, if you're Kevin Stefanski, if you're Andrew Berry, that if you draft a quarterback at 2,
yes, sir,
he is your franchise guy for the next 5 to 7 years. I cannot honestly say that with a fact about Shedeur Sanders yet. Not done watching the film. I do think the ceiling's there. One of the things about the Browns, too, that we're not talking about enough is the quarterback situation they got themselves in with Deshaun Watson. So, can you imagine if you go Deshaun Watson, which is one of the worst contracts in NFL history given out, and then you go out and you spend the number 2 draft pick on a quarterback that may or may not hit? If you have any issue at all that he may not be your guy, you can pass on him.
I got one pushback. I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns. I know the history of that organization. You said Abdul Carter, defensive end. Myles Garrett, a top 2 defensive end of the generation. The Browns have still been bad.
Yep.
So bad that he wants out. I was in Cleveland when they had Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden, a top cornerback of his generation. The Browns didn't win anything. Denzel Ward, currently a top 10 cornerback of the last 5 years. Browns haven't won anything. You could acquire Travis Hunter, a top cornerback. Browns have had those. Though Travis Hunter, you could suggest is better. Haven't seen him in the NFL yet. You could acquire Abdul Carter. I'm hard-pressed to believe he'll be better than Myles Garrett, but maybe he's just as good. Browns have had generational corners and DNs, haven't won anything, but they haven't had a generational Q. Doesn't that lend you to say, I can't forego a Q for a DE or CB?
Shedeur Sanders is not a generational quarterback. Like just because he's the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the draft doesn't necessarily mean he's a generational quarterback. If I remember correctly, Baker Mayfield took the Browns to the playoffs. If I remember, Joe Flacco took the Browns to the playoffs. You can go out there, you can sign a name in free agency, maybe Jameis Winston. I'm not saying that's the end-all be-all, but you make it through to next year.
Yeah.
Next year's quarterback draft class, there's Drew Aller, there's Arch Manning, there's Cade Klubnik, there's all these guys that I think the ceiling, I haven't watched all their film yet, I think their ceiling is a lot higher than Shedeur. I don't think you can pass up a generational player, which I think in this draft is 2 guys, Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter.
My dog, gotta run. Let me get this rock. Let me dish that rock. Let's talk hoops for a quick second, my guy. The Lakers and the Warriors are 2 of the best teams currently.
Yes.